What are some of the personal practices that you are using right now in this stage? I know you are in this deep stage of creation. You mentioned you're writing a novel. You literally just birthed the book baby in May, which is insane. Like, I feel like you're in just like a beautiful flow state. You're living on the outskirts of London, like living the holiday in real life. Tell us a little bit more about what are you doing right now to support your creativity?
I would say the one word that comes to mind the most is surrender. I live
Mm.
such a surrendered life. I People constantly ask me, where are you going to be in January? And I say, I haven't been guided yet. I haven't been told. I really surrender the entirety of my life to the universe, to God, to this higher source. And it's so interesting because I used to be such a control freak, so A-type, planned everything to the umpteenth degree. And now I give up everything because I realize that there's so much magic outside of what I can currently see. Even when I saw you a few months ago when I was in LA, England wasn't even on my radar at
Wow.
that point. And I think that living in that surrendered life informs my creativity so much because I'll have a ping to go somewhere. And even if I have different plans, I'll listen to the ping because I know that's the higher source. And then maybe it happens to be a beautifully sunny day and it's the day that they open the Ruskin Mill again and the water's flowing. And then I feel deeply inspired. So for me, instead of having a ritual that I'm doing every day, I really try to live in meditation and be in this flow state. I am doing the artist way, like I mentioned. So I am doing the morning pages every morning. And I always meditate at least once throughout my day at some point, but really just trying to live what I practice
Mm.
every moment. And really, I think if you've done the artist way, you know that it can really conjure up some darkness.
Yeah.
And so I love that I'm in this beautiful area in the Cotswolds to just be a bit hermetic. There is no one here that knows me, so there are no mirrors or reflections. It's just me, and I
Mm.
can show up with every single person exactly as I am in this moment. They have no preconceived notion of who I am, and it's really beautiful to see who comes up every day, to really take note of where I am in life, and then just be in this beautiful little home writing. It's so hermetic. I have a tendency to go really full on, like I did in May with the book and the event and the record and the album, and bam. And then I tend to really pull back and go deep in and just really see what excavation is there, because I'm a deep believer it's a spiral and that
Yeah.
it's just the same stuff again and again in a different new way.
Yes, I'm such a believer in that as well. Wow. What sign are you? Are you a Sag?
And I'm a Leo.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. You
Mhm.
got to have Sag somewhere. Or where I know you're big into astro, really?
No, I'm a Leo Taurus, but I have three planets in Virgo, so I have a
Mm.
lot of that A type energy too. But I
And
have,
I
I think, four in Leo.
okay, I can totally see that. And then you're big into astrocartography as well. Have you looked up your lines where you are?
So I am big in astrocartography and like where I go. So when being in England, I think eight of my planets go into the 12th house here. So it's all about deep spiritual gifts, inner reflection. And I feel that I've had a really deep, long dance with insomnia and nightmares. And there's been a lot of that coming up here. And I'm like, okay, it's time to finally face this thing
Mm.
that I've had on and off my entire life. But it was really bad basically until I was 25. And
Wow.
now it comes in and out. And I'm like, oh, so this is one of the reasons I'm here, is to face this subconscious darkness that's living within me. And it's just really beautiful because, again, I just feel really held here. I got
Mm.
led to the Cotswolds in a totally crazy way. I was in London. I had no idea where I was going. I went to a seaside town and was, hey, God, I don't know where I'm going. Like, I have a whole country. And I had been looking at the Cotswolds over and over on Airbnb, and nothing felt right. I'm really big into aesthetics. I used to be an interior designer, and it was all like older stuff. And in the seaside town, I got woken up at 2 a.m. and I was just sitting there and I just heard, go online, look for a place or something like that, or Airbnb. I forget, I was tired. And this place that I'm in now pops up. It's like mid century modern in the Cotswolds. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. So I come for a week, completely fall in love with the person I'm renting from. She's a filmmaker. And she goes, how did you find the listing? And I go, what do you mean? She goes, we're brand new and Airbnb won't show it at all because there's no reviews yet. And I was like, I saw it at 2 a.m. And she was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, God literally woke me up just to bring me here. So that's what I mean by surrendered. Sometimes you don't really know what you're doing, but then to me, the sign always comes. And I'm so obsessed with this town and my neighbor and just everything that's unfolded here. But
Mm.
it takes those weird moments where I could have never found the listing if I wasn't woken up until the middle of the night.
Do you keep like a ping list or something that helps you hone trust while you're in these crazy leaps of faith?
So I have a blessing book that I keep. That's something to just remind me how many synchronicities happen, but I don't have a ping one specifically, but I do have people in my life that remind me because I get a little nervous every time I move, and my mom will just be like, Talyn, you always end up in the absolute coolest house in the craziest way. So she'll always just mirror it back to me.
Wow, that's actually very powerful that your parents and your friends are able to support and amplify you
Mhm.
in that place of full surrender, because that makes all the difference, honestly. It's,
Mhm.
I always say that you're a compilation of the 6 people that you surround yourself with, and I think that's even more so now, like digitally and physically. So I feel like you probably wouldn't be in that place if you weren't surrounded by that support. It's really powerful.
Totally. And also, because I ride pretty high most of the time, but we're all human. We all have those moments of fear, of doubt. You're in a brand new country. There's a lot of new data. And it's just so helpful that I have people that believe in me. And like you said, just remind me of you've done this so many times. It always comes in the 11th hour, but it always comes. And then
Right.
every time it comes, they're all like, oh, what do you know? You know?
We're all held. That's not always what happens. What's that phrase? It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. I'm really curious how spirit comes through to you. You've mentioned a couple times like pings and you've heard this. Do you have a certain clair that you work with, or how do you work with spirit?
Yeah, clairsentience is my main one. For me, it's usually if it's a thought that comes out of nowhere. So when I was living in LA for a long time, the first kind of big ping that led me on this really surrendered path a year and a half ago, I was sitting in a circle and I just had this thought, I'm moving to Sedona, Arizona, because someone was talking about it and I had never been there. So for me, it's not that I hear someone else's voice, it's just this random thought. And I'm like, what? But then the interesting thing is that all of a sudden I'll just start talking about it. It involuntarily is like coming through me like, hey, I'm moving to Arizona. Everyone's what do you and even in my head, I'm like, what? No, I'm not. But it just keeps coming out. And then I a lot of the time ask for clarification and I asked for signs. Like for Sedona, I asked because that was a really big leap for me at the time. Now it's nothing compared to England, but and I said, give me a really clear sign. Am I really going to leave acting, leave this dream that I've had since I was a kid? And I got evicted the next day. I was like, louder than that. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
Mhm.